The Young and the Restless spoilers. Fridays, June 13, 2025. Here is an expanded narrative based on your plot points about Adam, Victor, Nikki, Sally, and Billy, with an underlying tone of suspense and intrigue as they navigate the complex dynamics of their relationships, the upcoming trip to France, and the mystery surrounding Dumas. The tension builds as secrets are revealed, alliances are tested, and everyone prepares for what could be a life-changing event in The Young and the Restless. The sun had barely risen over Genoa City, but the air already felt thick with tension. Adam Newman stood outside of his father's office, his hand poised over the door handle. He had been here before, countless times. The same cold silence, the same sense of impending doom. But today felt different. Today, he was walking into the lion's den not just to seek approval, but to calm the storm that was Victor Newman's fury. For years, Adam had tried to gain his father's respect, tried to prove that he was worthy of being part of the Newman legacy. But it was never enough. Victor's expectations were always too high, and Adam's failures, no matter how small, were magnified in his father's eyes. But today, Adam hoped to change that. The stakes were higher than ever, and with the ever-looming threat of Dumas's power moves in the background, Adam knew he needed Victor's trust if he was going to survive the game. Taking a deep breath, Adam knocked softly and stepped into the office. Victor, sitting behind his desk as always, looked up at him with a mixture of indifference and suspicion. "Adam," Victor greeted him curtly. "What is it?" "I'm here to talk about the Dumas situation," Adam said, his voice steady but firm. "I know you've been under a lot of pressure, but I want to help. We need to unite against this. It's time to stop letting this shadow figure pull us apart." Victor's eyes narrowed as he leaned forward, his fingers tapping against the desk. "Help? Adam, I don't need your help. You've made your own messes before. What makes you think I'll trust you now?" Adam hesitated for a moment, sensing his father's anger but refusing to back down. "Because I understand what's at stake. I know how dangerous this is, and I'm willing to put aside our differences to stop Dumas from getting what he wants. We're not dealing with just a businessman here. Dumas is a force, and he's after power. Power we can't afford to lose." Victor studied Adam for a long moment before responding. His voice was lower, almost begrudgingly admiring. "You've finally figured it out, haven't you? Dumas isn't just a threat to me. He's a threat to all of us." Adam nodded. "Exactly. We need to work together. Whatever our differences, this is the one time we can't afford to fight among ourselves." Victor leaned back in his chair, his gaze unwavering. "We'll see. You have a lot to prove to me, Adam. You know that." Before Adam could respond, the door to the office opened again, and Nikki Newman entered. She looked between the two men, sensing the tension in the air. Nikki had always been the calming force in the Newman family, the one who could see the bigger picture even when emotions ran high. "Victor," she said softly, walking toward him, "Adam's right. We need to put our differences aside. The threat of Dumas is bigger than all of us. And I think we need to start looking at how we can deal with him together." Victor turned his gaze toward her, his stern expression softening just slightly. "I'm not used to trusting anyone, not even my own son, Nikki. But you're right. We can't let this go on." Nikki gave a small nod and smiled, but her eyes betrayed the concern she was feeling. "We all have to trust each other now, Victor. We don't have time to fight." Meanwhile, across town, Sally Spectra was having a conversation with Billy Abbott that was beginning to raise her anxiety. She had agreed to join him on the trip to Nice, but the closer it came to departure, the more uneasy she felt. There was something off about the whole situation, something bigger than just a fancy party. Sally wasn't a stranger to business games and corporate power moves, but Dumas and his associates were different. They were unpredictable, dangerous, and, worst of all, they didn't play by the rules. As she sat with Billy in his office, she tried to keep her calm, but the tension was evident in her voice. Billy, are you sure about this? I mean, going to Nice with all of these people, with Dumas in the background, it's not just another business trip. It could get ugly. Billy, ever the optimist, leaned back in his chair, his grin wide as ever. Oh, come on, Sally. It's just a little power play. We'll be fine. You know me, I'm great at making people like me. Sally shot him a sharp look. It's not about making people like you. It's about what's really at stake here. This isn't just a gala. Dumas wants more than just a seat at the table. He wants control. Billy's smirk faltered for a moment, but he quickly recovered. Sure, but what's the fun in life if we don't take a little risk? Besides, I think this is just the beginning of something bigger. We'll be in Nice, and things will unfold. Let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. Sally wasn't convinced, but she didn't want to seem paranoid. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that this trip was far more dangerous than Billy realized. Billy, you're talking about it like it's a vacation. But this could turn into something brutal. What if Dumas wants more than just power? What if he wants revenge? Billy chuckled, dismissing her concerns. You're always so serious, Sally. Just admit it, this is going to be fun. A little tension, a little drama. You'll love it. But Sally wasn't so sure. You might be right, but I'm telling you, Billy, this could get ugly. Very ugly. Billy leaned forward, his voice lowering with a hint of mischief. Well, that's why we're going, right? To make sure it doesn't get too ugly. If we're on the inside, we're in control. Sally gave him a pointed look, but before she could respond, her phone buzzed with a message. She glanced at it quickly and then sighed. Are you coming with me or not? Billy asked with a playful grin. Sally hesitated. I'm coming. But I'm keeping my eyes wide open. As the days leading up to the trip in Nice grew shorter, the stakes for everyone involved became higher. For Victor, Adam, and Nikki, the tension of the unknown threat posed by Dumas loomed large. And for Sally and Billy, their involvement in the upcoming event was becoming more and more dangerous by the minute. Dumas was a force that none of them could fully understand, and yet they all had a part to play in this dangerous game. And as the night in Nice approached, the final pieces of the puzzle were about to fall into place. Who was truly pulling the strings? And what would happen when all the secrets came to light? One thing was certain, no one would be able to walk away from this game unscathed. If you'd like to delve further into the upcoming twists, character arcs, or explore how the story develops, feel free to let me know. Here's a detailed expansion of the plot you've outlined, focusing on the conversations and tensions surrounding Victor, Chelsea, Adam, and Nikki, as well as the intricate power dynamics between them. The stakes rise as Chelsea navigates her relationship with Victor and Adam, all while trying to figure out how to get Victor to back down from his aggressive tactics, particularly against Billy. The evening at Society was quiet, save for the low hum of conversation in the background and the clinking of glasses. The restaurant had become a place of refuge for those like Nikki Newman, who preferred a quiet, more private setting to talk business. Tonight, however, wasn't about family celebrations or social gatherings, it was about something far more personal. Nikki sat across from Chelsea Lawson, studying her closely. Chelsea had been distant lately, and Nikki couldn't help but sense that something was amiss. They hadn't spoken much about it, but Nikki knew better than anyone when something was bothering the people she cared about. And tonight, she was determined to get to the bottom of it. Chelsea, Nikki started, her voice calm but probing, I've been hearing about Newman Media, and I wanted to check in with you. If things aren't going the way you expected with your new position, you know you can always talk to me. Chelsea hesitated for a moment, her eyes flickering to her glass of wine before looking back at Nikki. She had been holding this frustration inside for too long, and now, with Nikki's gentle prodding, the words spilled out. It's not as easy as I thought it would be, Nikki, Chelsea admitted, the weight of her words clear in her tone. There's a lot more pressure than I was prepared for. Things aren't going as smoothly as I'd like. Nikki leaned forward, her concern growing. What's the issue? What's been holding you back? Chelsea sighed, a soft laugh escaping her lips, though it lacked any humor. The problem is Victor. Nikki's brows furrowed in surprise. Victor, she repeated, leaning back slightly. What's going on with him? Chelsea's voice dropped slightly, as though she were speaking a secret. He's pushing for something that doesn't sit right with me. He's trying to push his agenda forward, and that agenda includes attacking Billy. Nikki's expression immediately hardened. Billy? Why would Victor go after Billy? Chelsea nodded slowly, as if to confirm the weight of her words. Victor sees Billy as a threat to Newman Enterprises. He's decided Billy's the target now. But I'm not sure I can get on board with this, especially when I know Adam's already trying to keep things balanced. Nikki's eyes widened, a mixture of surprise and concern coloring her face. Adam has a problem with this? I thought he was on Victor's side when it came to business. Why the sudden change? Chelsea leaned forward, her voice a little lower. That's the thing. Adam's been pushing back on Victor. He doesn't want to go after Billy, he thinks it's wrong. But Victor has been relentless. It's like he's obsessed with taking Billy down, and Adam doesn't want to be a part of it. He's trying to redirect Victor's focus, but it's not working. Nikki took a moment to process what Chelsea had said. She knew how complicated Victor's tactics could be, how fixated he could get on a particular target. And now, to hear that Adam was openly challenging him, it was unusual. Adam rarely went against his father's wishes, at least not publicly. Are you telling me that Adam's actually challenging Victor? Nikki asked, a hint of disbelief in her voice. I can't imagine Victor taking kindly to that. Chelsea nodded grimly. He's trying to steer Victor's focus toward Dumas instead of Billy. He thinks Dumas is the bigger threat, and I think he's right. But Victor's not listening. He's fixated on Billy. Nikki thought for a moment, her eyes narrowing slightly. This doesn't sound like a fight you can win, Chelsea. I know Adam wants to protect you, but this is bigger than you or him. If Victor's set on something, it's hard to change his mind. Chelsea's face darkened. I know, but I have to try. I have to figure out a way to make him see reason. I can't just sit back and let this happen. Billy doesn't deserve to be Victor's target. Nikki sighed, running a hand through her hair, and leaned back in her chair. I've been in this position before. I've tried to get Victor to change his mind. And let me tell you, it's not easy. It might feel impossible. But if you want to try, I'll support you. You just have to know what you're up against. Chelsea's expression softened, a mixture of gratitude and frustration in her eyes. Thank you, Nikki. But I need to do this on my own. If anyone can talk to Victor, it's me. I just have to figure out how to make him see that there's a better way. Nikki looked at her for a long moment, her mind processing everything Chelsea had said. Be careful. This isn't a battle you can win alone. Don't let him manipulate you into something you'll regret. Chelsea smiled faintly, nodding. I won't. But I have to try. For Billy. Later that day, Adam Newman found himself pacing in his office, his thoughts tangled in the ongoing struggle between loyalty to his father and the growing realization that Victor's focus on Billy was dangerous and misguided. The phone call he had just received had only made things more complicated. He had spoken with one of his contacts, someone who was close to the situation at Newman Enterprises, and it was clear that Victor was doubling down on his campaign against Billy Abbott. As he hung up the phone, Adam felt his frustration bubbling over. He wasn't sure how much longer he could keep defending his father's choices. He didn't want to be a part of this war on Billy. And now, as he stood there in the silence of his office, he found himself thinking about the bigger picture. The true threat, the shadowy figure of Dumas, who loomed large in all of their lives. But Victor wasn't seeing it. His obsession with Billy was clouding his judgment, and Adam couldn't let that happen. The phone rang again, interrupting his thoughts. He picked up immediately. "Hello?" "Adam," the voice on the other end was familiar, Chelsea's. "I need to talk to you." Adam sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I know, Chelsea. I know what's going on. I'm doing what I can to keep Billy out of Victor's sights, but it's not working." "I don't think you understand," Chelsea replied, her voice shaking slightly. "Victor's going after Billy, but I think he's missing the bigger threat. Dumas is who we should be focusing on, not Billy." Adam clenched his jaw. "I'm aware of that. But Victor won't listen. He's obsessed with Billy right now." Chelsea's voice softened. "Then maybe it's time you try something else. Maybe it's time you show Victor that Dumas is the real problem." Adam paused, feeling the weight of her words. "I'll do what I can, Chelsea. But I'm not sure I can change Victor's mind. He's got a one-track mind when it comes to his vendettas." As the days leading up to the Dumas event in Nice grew shorter, the tension between Victor, Adam, and Chelsea was palpable. Everyone had their own agendas, but the stakes were high, and they all knew that the moment the truth about Dumas came to light, everything would change. In the meantime, Billy Abbott, ever the wild card, remained on his path. He didn't trust Victor or his agenda, and he certainly wasn't about to let anyone, especially Victor, dictate the course of his life. The road ahead was treacherous, but for Billy, the danger was nothing new. He'd been fighting for control of his own destiny for too long to let anyone take that away from him. Let me know if you want me to delve further into any of these relationships or characters, or if you'd like to explore the potential fallout from these interactions. The atmosphere in the Newman Tower office was charged with intensity as Victor leaned forward in his chair, his steely eyes locked onto Adam. The conversation had taken a sharp turn from corporate strategy to something darker. Something far more personal. Victor had always been a master manipulator, but today, his plans were coming into sharper focus, and Adam wasn't sure he was ready for what was coming. "Billy Abbott has been running Chancellor Industries for far too long," Victor began, his voice low and measured. "But before Nikki took over, there were never any criticisms of Billy's leadership. Strange, don't you think?" His tone was filled with disdain, as if Billy's success had somehow been a fluke, something undeserved. Adam sat across from him, his fingers tapping lightly on the desk as he tried to process his father's words. "We have a strategy in place," Adam said carefully, his voice neutral but with a hint of caution. "But we can't let Nikki's praise be the foundation of our attack on Billy. It would be too obvious. It would look like a Trojan horse designed to bring him down, and that's not what we want." Victor's expression darkened as he leaned in even closer. "Exactly. We don't want to make it look like it's all about Nikki. That's why we need the second wave, articles, interviews, anything we can use to discredit Billy in the public eye. Once the second round of articles comes out, Billy will crumble under the pressure. We'll make sure of that." Adam could feel the tension building between them. Victor's resolve was unshakable, but Adam was wary of his father's methods. Billy was no stranger to confrontation, and while Adam wasn't fond of him, he knew that Victor's vendetta could go too far. Still, Adam kept his thoughts to himself for the moment. He was trying to build a rapport with Victor, trying to prove that he was worthy of being his right-hand man. But he had a bad feeling about where this was headed. As if reading Adam's mind, Victor shifted the conversation. "But we're not just focused on Billy Abbott," he said, his voice lowering, the gleam of calculation in his eyes becoming more pronounced. "There's someone else we need to discuss, someone even more dangerous than Billy. Dumas." The name sent a chill down Adam's spine. He had heard the whispers around town, the rumors of the mysterious figure pulling strings from the shadows. Dumas was a ghost, a presence that everyone feared but no one truly understood. To have Victor so openly discussing him meant that they were on the brink of something monumental. Victor's eyes narrowed. Nikki, Nick, Sharon, and I are heading to France tomorrow. We'll be dealing with Dumas firsthand. I'll make sure we have everything we need to come out on top. Adam raised an eyebrow. That's a lot of people leaving Genoa City for one event. It sounds like a massive shift. Is this really necessary? Victor smirked, clearly enjoying the discomfort Adam was showing. You think I'm overdoing it? No, Adam. This is the only way to handle a figure like Dumas. You're right, though, it's a massive shift. We're moving all the pieces, making sure no one's left in the dark. The question is, are you prepared to help me when the time comes? Adam took a deep breath, his mind racing. There was no denying the gravity of the situation, but he wasn't sure where this was all leading. You're talking about moving everything. But what about Jack Abbott? You haven't mentioned him yet. Victor's smile widened, a predatory gleam in his eyes. Billy Abbott is the key to Dumas, and I plan to use that to my advantage. But Jack Abbott is the real target. I'll turn Dumas into an ally. Together, we'll bring Jack down. Adam swallowed, his unease growing. This was bigger than he had anticipated. It wasn't just about business anymore, it was personal. Victor had a vendetta against Jack Abbott, and now he planned to use Dumas to make it happen. The question was, what was Dumas's role in all of this? And how could Adam navigate this dangerous game without losing everything? Later that afternoon, as Adam was about to leave his office, he noticed Chelsea walking toward him with purpose. The tension in the air was palpable. Chelsea had been increasingly quiet lately, and Adam knew she was walking a fine line in her dealings with Victor. He couldn't help but wonder what was really going on in her mind. Chelsea, Adam greeted her, trying to keep his voice casual despite the growing sense of urgency. I need to speak with you, Chelsea said, her voice low and measured. There was something different in her eyes, something Adam couldn't quite place, but it made him uneasy. Adam nodded, gesturing for her to sit down. What's going on?